everyone, it's Nicole and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing a 12 by 12 layout that I created using the February 2023 Hip Kit main kit, and today I am playing along with a sketch challenge that they have over on their Facebook group. I will link to that down below so that you could reference the sketch that I'm working with. But what really inspired this whole layout was this lace doily paper, and I absolutely love this. When I first got this kit, I looked at this paper and I was like, there is just no way that I'm going to be able to think of anything on how to use this. And when they posted the sketch challenge, it was just like an instant light bulb. The sketch has these horizontal mixed media stripes, but I really didn't feel like doing all the mixed media the day that I created this. I just wanted to sit down and I wanted to make and see the outcome. So I didn't want to wait for all of that paint to dry and things to do that, and I just wasn't in the mood with the heat tool and whatnot. So I used these lace strips, so to speak, that were on this 12 by 12 paper to create those horizontal, the horizontal elements that were on this sketch. And I love how this turned out. I fussy cut 3 of them out. I didn't use the whole 12 by 12 sheet, and I'm going to layer them in different lengths across my page, and I'm going to trim a couple of them down, and I like to do things in odd numbers, so I'm going to go for 5 on this, and I'm just going to vary the length, and I'm going to snip a little bit of this one off, and I'm going to use that small the small piece up at the very top, and then I'm going to keep my wider or longer layers closer to the bottom, since they have a tendency to carry a little bit more weight. Because it was lace and it was a doily effect, I decided to distress all of the edges of these different scallop circles. I felt that that brought that little bit more of the distressed feel in, a little bit more of that authentic doily or lace type feel to the page. And as I did this, I glued them down with just a very thin layer of liquid adhesive. I am actually, once I get these all down, I am going to go in and I am going to do a running stitch across all 3 of these to add to that sewn feeling or fabric feeling that this paper portrays. When I layer these down, you can see at the top of each of those strips, there's like that wide running stitch already there. I tried to let that show as much as I could, because I'm actually going to accent that after I stitch it with some embellishing. So I actually set that aside, let it dry a bit, and then I lifted these up, because in the end I want this all to pop up off the page, kind of like a ripple effect, so to speak. And then to use my photos, I'm going to use these 2 circles that are in this chipboard piece in this pack. And this is the larger circle is teal. The smaller one is a very pretty lavender. And I am going to use these on the left-hand side of these scallops, and I'm going to use those to frame my photos later on. So because I was only working with the main kit, I did not add on the embellishment kit this month. There was no floral die cuts or floral chipboards with this. I believe that was all a part of the add-on. But what was a part of this was this gorgeous floral paper. So I actually went in and pulled out coordinating colors of things that were already going on my page, like the lavenders and some pinks, and that light blue. And I pulled flowers that matched those colors to accent them and fussy cut them out and made my own ephemera out of this. I love doing that type of thing. I love fussy cutting. It does take a little bit of time and patience, but I love fussy cutting so much. So I did pull out several flowers off of that paper. And I do layer them here, as you can see. I had a couple of them that were stuck together, but I ended up fussy cutting them apart because I am going to use the larger one and glue it to the background. The smaller ones, I'm going to add on some foam adhesive and get those popped up off the page to give it everything a little bit more dimension whenever I finish this up. this little cluster of berries. I absolutely loved it. So I had to make sure that I fussy cut that to put in there. There were also some leafy green sprigs. So I made sure that I grabbed some of those. I'm literally color blocking and fussy cutting. Sometimes when I get stuck and I don't know what to use, color blocking is the best way for my mind to go, because then you can't go wrong whenever you're using the same color. There was also this heart paper, which perfectly enough had lavender and the light blue hearts on it. And there again, because I didn't really have a whole lot of extra added embellishments other than what the main kit came with, I embraced this paper and I fussy cut out some hearts, popped the edges up, kind of like folding them in half, but not really, just enough to get the sides of those hearts to stand up. And I'm going to use those as embellishments too. There is nothing wrong with making your papers and your products work for what you want. I'm finding that as the kits go by and the years go by, that I'm more prone to cutting into papers that I would have earlier on hoarded because they're beautiful and I wanted to use them for something that I never got around to using them. So now I'm just more or less, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're using it now, and that's that. So I have the embellishments that came with the main kit. I do have on the left-hand side there on my tray. When I get them, I open all of the embellishments and put them in with like things. So all of the words will go with the like words. These strips, these vellum strips, I put those all together. And I absolutely love these vellum strips. I am not a vellum person at all. I find vellum very hard for me to work with. Just because it's me, and my brain doesn't like to see the transparency of vellum sometimes, because it's hard to find the right adhesive to make these work without it actually seeing through. But whatever type of vellum this is that the Hip Kit crew used to make these, I used a regular tape runner adhesive and glued this down, and you cannot even tell that it had a glue or a tape runner adhesive behind it. So I was really, really excited about that. So these for sure will get used up. But these are different sayings and phrases. You will be able to see the close-up at the very end and what they all say. I used the varying widths of them to go with the varying widths of the doily paper. And then I used this Sweet Forever as my title for this page. So I'm going to go ahead, and now that I have that all laid out, I'm going to pull everything apart. And this is where I decided that, you know what, this really needed something a little bit extra. And this is where I went in and used my sewing machine, and I ran 3 passes back and forth along the tops of each of those strips of paper. There is just something about adding stitching to a layout, that the texture that it gives, the extra dimension, and that hand sewn, handmade feel. I love what it does to it, and I love how that this turned out. So I do that to all of the 5 rows of the lace. I don't believe that I included everything on there. I think I just showed the 3, but I'm just showing the 3 different passes. Okay, there we go. I trimmed them off, and the strings that were on the end, I let them hang there. I did trim them a little bit lower, but I just let them go because I thought that it added more of that sewn feeling to the layout that those horizontal lace stripes were calling for. So I'm going to go ahead and go back through, try to build this how I had it. I know it's not going to be exact, but I start to tuck some things in, add some things on top, put in all of the little floral bits. I did grab the butterflies because there were butterflies on this sketch, so that's how I pulled those in. So I'm going to grab those 2 butterfly die cuts. Even though they have not the exact coloring of the light blue and lavender, the basis of them was that light blue and lavender, and then there was some other darker navies in there, but that was totally okay. So everything was back together. I did grab some photos. I printed 3 because I just wasn't sure how that small one was going to turn out. This is of myself and my pup, my Sarge. He has been, I think, the center of attention on all of my layouts lately. It was free cone day at the Dairy Queen, so him and I, we went down with my kids, and I got a cone, and him and I shared a little bit of it. I took a couple bites, and pretty much the rest of it was his. So this was just documenting those photos, and the story behind that day. So I went ahead and cut those photos down and trim them out behind those two circle chipboard frames. And then each of those circles, I am going to use my foam adhesive. And I love this Alta New foam adhesive. This is kind of like my latest new addiction. It literally sticks to everything, including mixed media. And I don't find that it's popping up like a lot of others do. So I use this a lot on this layout to pop up a lot of these embellishments, but I did put them first behind my two photos. I'm going to pop those up off the page because I want to eventually start to tuck some of the larger flowers underneath them, like I did with that large one there. I tucked the edge of it underneath that frame. However, I left the rest of it popped up on foam, but it still gives that impression of it coming off the page while still being tucked under, which helps create that visual layer and the depth a little bit more than just gluing it straight down onto the page. So this I'm just going to take some time, go back through. Like I said, pop a lot of this up on foam adhesive, and I'm going to layer it on top of flowers, on top of frames. I do keep all of the light blues clustered up closer towards the top of my page, and the lavenders and light purples down towards the bottom there. A lot of this greenery and the butterfly will actually end up moving here in a bit because I find a chipboard that I want to use. But it's just a matter of all of the little pieces that I fussy cut. I'm going to go ahead and get those glued down onto the page because I know where I want these to go at this point. There were some other die cuts. There's 3 smaller flowers here at the bottom that I'm working with now. Those were actual die cuts that came in the 1 die cut pack. In the main kit, they were lavender, and then the one was a lavender and a darker purple. But I went ahead and used it anyways. The vellum word sweet in my title is a little bit darker purple, so it helped pull that color back in to flow everything nicely. Just going to add in some of the berries behind there. I'm going to start adding some of the smaller flowers on top of the larger flowers here, just to make it look more natural, more like it's supposed to with flowers, like being in a flower bunch, one's on top of another, etc. And I am going to go ahead and start gluing in these hearts as I go around the page too. And when I do, when I glue down the hearts or stick down the hearts or the flowers, you'll notice that as I do it, I lift up the edges, and that just, especially of those hearts, and that just helps that pop up off the page a little bit more, and more at the end. It gives that little bit more of a shadow look. So these word strips, I used, like I said, my tape runner adhesive and put that down on the back there. And you guys, like, you can't even see the tape runner adhesive on this vellums. I absolutely love it. I didn't think I was going to use these, but like I said, can't see it at all. And I absolutely love that about these vellums. So for the title, I'm going to go ahead and glue down with my tape runner the word sweet. And then the forever is actually a die cut piece. It's not vellum. It was in the die cut pack. I'm going to take the time and cut little pieces of the foam so that I can pop this up on foam adhesive to give that a little bit more of a bump up off the page. And then I'm going to kind of it nestles in there right underneath that the leaf there, and that I love how that looks there together. Once I got everything glued down, I did realize that I felt like I needed another little bit more of the lavender. I felt like the top of my page was very blue heavy, but the bottom, while it did have some lavender in there, I felt like that there was a gap there beside my title, and that it needed just something a little bit more. So I went ahead and cut out another purple heart. I tried to originally just glue it straight down, but it didn't have that pop that I like. So I put it on some foam adhesive, lifted up those edges there, and thought that looked great. Same thing though too, then I felt like that I added some purple, and then I felt like, oh, now I'm missing some blue. So I went back to that 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and I did find another smaller blue floral that had that blue tone leaf with it, and I'm going to take the time to fussy cut that out, and it's going to live there on the right hand side to help fill in that little gap right there. and another little flower, and another little leaf. This one I think I tuck underneath the frame. I'm just trying to really fill in the white space. There was some white space left around the photo frames, and I didn't want anything white at that point. I wanted some kind of floral or heart or butterfly at some point all around the frame, so it didn't feel so empty. There were some other pieces, vellum pieces. This one says details. I added another one too down at the bottom, just to fill in the gaps using that tone on tone color. And then I went around and lifted up those edges just to try to give it that little bit more pop, because I was pushing down on some things. But I did want a vellum strip on all 5 of my doily pieces. So I went back into the pieces that came with the kit, and I found a couple, one that I liked part of it, and I thought that it fit well with the story I was telling, but the beginning part didn't. So I trimmed it down to what I thought would work. And then after that, I went back into the chipboards, found another butterfly and a lavender heart, and used that as well. And then this circle embellishment, and this is where the butterfly comes off of my page. And this circle element goes right in there. And then I do believe that is everything for this layout. So thanks so much, you guys, for stopping by today. I've had so much fun with this. Here comes some close-up photos at the end. If you're new to my channel, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a video to my channel. And to everyone, my returning subscribers and everybody new and those just stopping by, have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.